Yo, what up guys, Old School Dan here, and in this video, we're going to talk about the legendary Franco the Bat, his leg routine from his book. Super excited to share this with you guys. With that being said, let's go ahead and dive right in. One thing I want to say before I start the video is that if you're looking to support my channel further for me to buy more content, to produce more content, and if you really enjoy my content, my new ebook, Silver Era Secrets, is out now for sale. An ebook that will help you transform your current physique into a silver era one. This isn't for me to just gain money. This is for me to put more time and money into the channel so that I can produce more content for you guys. So if you guys really want to support me, click that link in the description. With that being said, let's go ahead and jump right into the routine like I always do. So the first exercise he chooses to start his leg workout with is the leg extensions. This is probably to increase blood flow in the around the knee, get the legs sort of pumped up and ready to get for the compound exercises, kind of like a little bit just to get a good warm up, which is I think is a great idea. I think it's a great exercise to create that pre-activation stage, just kind of like when people do dumbbell cable lat pullover or cable pullovers, sort of get the lats warmed up and ready to be activated during the actual working sets, which is I think is a great idea. Starting off with 2 sets of 20, move it into the leg curl, 3 sets of 13 reps. Sometimes I've heard that starting off with the leg curl and then move it into Romanian deadlifts right after is a good idea because it sort of pre-activates, like I said, for the lats and the leg extension. It sort of pre-activates the hamstrings to get them prepared for the actual compound exercise, which I think is a pretty damn good idea. Because you can't really get injured on machines much. That's why you got bodybuilders like Phil Heath who decided to completely switch from free weights to machines because there's less injury involved. But moving into the squat is the next exercise. 5 sets of 10. We got a compound exercise that is great for the legs. An absolute classic exercise, an old school one. Moving on into the front squat, which is a great one. We call that Vince Gironda calls it the Dillinger squat. You can do this with the 2x4 under your feet. Daryl Conant, the guy that wrote Invincible, which the book I have. He talked about some people are kind of iffy about using the 2x4 under their feet. That you can create some type of thing, some type of syndrome or thing in your soleus, in your something like muscle like that group, right? But he says he's never had any experience with using a 2x4. He's been using it for years, and all old school bodybuilders we know that they used them back in the day. And he said he's never reported any type of injury with using the 2x4, which is exactly how he recommends and how Vince Gironda recommends to do the Dillinger squat, which is aka the front squat. All right, so 2 sets of 10. Right now we're looking about 2, 7, 8, 9 sets of quads so far, just kind of high a little bit. And then the hack squat, I think this is one he throws in there, but there's no sets or reps, which I'm starting to think that instead of the front squat, you could substitute for the hack squat. You can go back and forth. You can do front squat and back squat one day, kind of like a Reg Park sort of exercise using just only compounds, and then maybe just kind of going from the squat and then a hack squat instead of the front squat. Pretty sure you can use the same amount of rep range. That's totally fine. And then finishing off the leg workout with calf raises. Last thing before I say this exercise, in the next slide there are some incredibly important notes that I want to share with you that are vital for this workout. So don't skip the video or end the video here. Stay and watch that. Got calf raises. It says 8 to 20. He says 4 sets will do fine, but he prefers to do 8 sets of 20, which I think is a pretty damn good idea because if you really want those calves to grow, they're a stubborn muscle group. And he talks about that you can use a lot of weight on this exercise, which is something that Arnold Schwarzenegger had learned from Reg Park, because Reg Park, when he went to go train at his house, he saw Reg Park doing calf raises with 1,000 pounds. I think Arnold was doing about 500 or 700 pounds, and he thought that was heavy. But when he saw Reg Park train his calves, he was just amazed. He's like, oh snap, this guy's training calves even harder and heavier than I am. So he had to step up to that level. And when he did, he saw exponential results in his calves. So this is something I highly recommend for you. Start using a lot more weight so then you can control the form and not bounce up and down. He talks about using a full range of motion. You're going to see in the next slide, I wrote some important notes there, but 8 sets and 20 should be incredibly sufficient for calves. I think should be the bare minimum. Maybe 6 sets, 6 to 8 sets, the bare minimum to train calves. You don't have to do 8 sets, but if your calves are really, really freaking stubborn and you're not seeing any results, I was doing anywhere between 8 to 10 sets when I really wanted my calves to grow. I was doing like the Arnold Schwarzenegger routine. I was doing like 15 sets per workout or even 20. It sounds insane, but I mean, I really wanted my calves to grow, and I was just going old school, you know, following what Arnold did and those guys did, and I saw some pretty damn good results because old school always works. Anyways, with that being said, let's go ahead and move right into the next slide. So here are some important notes that I wrote down from his book. Number one, flex thighs for 2 seconds on the leg extension. This is to, you know, kind of really concentrate, you know, really focus on that concentric part of the movement to really activate those thighs to get them really prepared for the next movement to come, which is going to be like the squat and then the front squat and then the hack squat and all those other exercises. I think it's a great way to kind of build that mind to muscle connection early on in the beginning of the workout, so that when you get there to the squats, you're not kind of thinking about, oh, how should this feel, because every time you do an exercise, you should already know what the feeling is going to be like. When you do a curl, you know exactly how a curl feels like, right? When you do a bicep curl. But do you remember how a standing calf raise feels? So not really. It's not the same feeling. You gotta get yourself mentally and physically prepared for that exercise. Next one is on the leg curl, pull with the ankles. This is something very similar to when you learn about when you're doing rows, right? And you really want to grow your back, because it's hard to grow your back when you can't see it. It's something you don't really look at because it's behind you. So one of the tips that I like to provide for some of my clients is that I really like to think about using the elbows as if there's a string behind them that's being pulled all the way back. And I sort of think of my wrists, or my wrists as hooks. You know, my hands are not existent. They're used to hold the weight, but all the pulling is done with my elbows, and you know, my wrists are hooks. It's the same thing with the leg curl pull. Don't pull with your legs, pull with the ankles. It's just like a row, but for a leg. You know what I mean? So I'm pretty sure you can wrap your mind about that, because that makes a lot of sense. It's kind of like the same thing with like a row. You're pulling with the elbow. In this case, you're pulling with the ankle. Hopefully that makes sense. Hopefully that's something I really started to really think about a while back when I read this book. I started to try it. I was like, you know what, just pull with the ankles. Pull. And you start to feel the muscle so much more instead of actually just pulling with the whole entire leg. Pull with the ankles. Next one is don't look up when squatting. And this is a tip I learned back in high school. I'm not too sure about this one. I sort of like to keep my head sort of neutral in a straight position. But you know what? I've heard about this tip before. I'm sort of iffy about it. If you guys got any comments about this one, please leave a comment below. Let me know what you think about that. Next one is don't lock your knees on a hack squat. This is to maintain the tension on the quads. Makes sense. He talks about, like, he says, we don't rest during a workout. We keep going. And this applies for the exercise as well. Don't rest during the exercise. The last one is go up and all the way down when training calves. Get a full range of motion. Believe me, guys, this is incredibly crucial to when it comes to calf training. Using a full range of motion. You wouldn't use a short range of motion or half-assed range of motion when it comes to biceps, would you? Now you gotta apply the same type of mentality when it comes to training calves, because I see a lot of people. This is my philosophy, right? A lot of people enjoy the heck out of training biceps, chest, back, shoulders, all these other muscle groups. When it comes to calves, legs, they don't enjoy it. What I mean by that is that when they enjoy it, is that they go slow, they concentrate, they love the movement, they love the way the muscle feels and looks when they're doing the exercise. You got to do the same thing with your calves, the same thing with your legs. You got to enjoy it. Even though, it's not fun, I don't like doing squats or front squats. I did front squats and hack squats, barbell hack squats. That's another thing. In this book, the hack squats I was talking about aren't done on a machine. He talks about it on the barbell. He's talking about a super old school hack squat. But you got to enjoy the training, guys. The same way you enjoy training biceps back, you got to do the same thing with legs. Go slow, concentrate, enjoy the movement, even though it's not fun. It's not fun. It's boring. I think training legs is absolutely boring. Honestly. Just curious to hear what your thoughts are on leg training. You think it's boring? You think it's fun? Let me know what you think in the comments below. With that being said, guys, hope you guys enjoyed this video. Super pumped to share the next videos with you. Subscribe for more videos like this. Give this video a thumbs up. Thanks for watching. I'm Old School Day, and I'm gone. Peace.